This week on In the Field, following up after a photo scouting shoot. Hi everybody, welcome to In the Field. I'm Scott Davenport, and this week I'm talking about follow-up. So a few months back, I had driven out to the Salton Sea. You may have seen the In the Field and In Post episodes from that. And on the way back, I stopped at a location in the Anza Borrego desert that just looked really, really cool. Took a couple of quick scouting photos and made a mental note that I should get back to these spots when the light is better. And that is exactly what I did. I went out there for a sunrise shoot. Meant getting up early, meant getting out of bed, getting into the cold outside car and driving out there at 3:30 in the morning. But the results were really, really good. So let's have a look at where this spot is on the maps and some footage from the shoot. So here's San Diego, and the Anza Borrego Desert is this green swatch here. It's not very green, actually. It's the desert, but that's how it's represented on the maps. And let me switch over to the satellite view and show you more or less the precise spot that I was at. So this one road kind of winds all the way through this area, and there is a nice large pullout right here. And so if I switch over to the 3D mode and we rotate around, you can see that this is standing up above a wash and a path here. And so I was parked up around this area shooting out over these badlands. And so you can imagine all of these different nooks and crannies of the earth getting lit up by the sunrise, which was coming off from the southeast and just casting all sorts of interesting shadows along with nice orange light over these hills. I've returned to a location I scouted a few weeks ago at the edges of the Anza Borrego Desert. It's about 45 minutes before sunrise, already starting to get some nice color in the sky. And as I pan to the right, things are going to get very dark in the video. But in this area here, let's go back to the sunrise while I talk, is where there's a lot of really interesting shapes and forms in the Badlands, and as the sun rises, there's a similar cloud cover like this hanging over the Badlands themselves. So I'm hopeful there'll be some color there and just a nice amount of light play on the surfaces of the mountains and fissures and everything here in the park. The sun's risen enough so that we can see a hint of what we're looking at here. There's a nice wash that's winding up through the hills, and they're already starting to get a bit of an orange glow as the ambient part of sunrise is making these visible. I am resisting the urge to take more of the sky into the shot, so I'm framed up with roughly what you see here in the video. And the reason for that is what makes this spot special are the hills, are the mountains, these nice rock formations and the colors that are going to come as the sun comes up and starts to light them up. And it is hard to ignore the sky because there's a nice light cloud cover, and you can see it's already picking up some wonderful sunrise tones. The sun has officially risen. You can see much better what we've been looking at here. Now the color is effectively gone. It's washed out from the sky, so I'm changing up and I'm taking a lot more close-up shots of the different rock formations and patterns and more intimate landscapes while the light is still very good. For the close-ups on the rocks, I've switched over to using the 70 to 200, and right now I'm going to say I'm around 120 to 130 millimeters. And I'm just picking out different little peaks, some that have the tips are being illuminated, and then the shadowy areas, a nice contrast to that. And just watching the light, seeing what catches your eye, and it's interesting to see sometimes what I'm seeing through like the camera here, the video camera, is much different than when you get close up in the zoom lens. You get a very different perspective on really what is just overall a very beautiful, beautiful morning in Anza Borrego. So part of the follow-up is actually going. And as I mentioned, in my case, that meant getting up very early to get to this location before sunrise. It was definitely a sunrise spot and not a sunset spot. But the other part is waiting until the weather conditions were going to be good for a sunrise shoot. I didn't want a completely barren sky. I mean, as much as these hills are really cool and interesting to look at in and of themselves, I wanted something else in the sky to give some more ambiance and give some more context to the location, and also some more depth. So that meant waiting. And if you didn't check out last week's In the Field, take a look at that one, because that's all about how weather and what's going on with the environment will influence where you choose to go shoot. So the tip of the week is follow up. It's that simple. If you've taken a test shot of a place and oh, I have to come shoot this at some point, make it happen. Get back out there and get the shot that you envisioned when you were first in that location. That's it for this week in the field. Thanks very much for joining me. Hope you've enjoyed it. And if you did, tell a friend. +1s, likes, comments, those are all appreciated. Those really encourage me to come back and do another video. And if you have questions in the meantime, I'd love to hear from you. You can contact me through my website. And I'm pretty good about getting a response back to you within 24 to 48 hours. I don't like those things to linger, and your question may be featured on a Q&A episode in the future. So until next time, my name is Scott Davenport, and happy shooting.